Great to have you here. Mainly for people who don't know anything about TimeStalker, can you give us a brief intro? What can they expect when they go in to watch this film?
I think it's unrequited love across a 500-year time period. I think people will have a good laugh. There's lots of great wigs. There's lots of time spent in the 1980s, and I think it's what cinema-goers need right now, a bit of fun.
Tell us about your character. He's kind of a sinister force all through the different time periods.
He begins life as a dog, and then becomes a monster, and kind of stays a monster for the next 400 or 500 years. I think audiences shouldn't feel sorry for George, but what I'd like them to remember is people like George don't start out as monsters. They start out as traumatized children who become monsters. And obviously, if you're very wealthy, no one ever says no to you, so it just gets worse and worse and worse. I'd like people to feel sorry for him a little bit at the end. When he gets released, you know. That's what he needed, to be told, no, sorry, I love you, but it's not right. And in that, he gets a little redemption. And if the audience can leave the cinema feeling sorry for him, then I think I've done a good job, you know.
And I mean, Alice Lowe just seems like one of these creatives that has an idea and just runs with it. And, you know, like I love Revenge as well. What excited you most about working with her? I know you worked before with her on the likes of Hot Fuzz, but what particularly about working with her on this project?
Because I think she's a great filmmaker, you know. I think she has a great voice. I love the fact she doesn't take no for an answer. She bulldozes through problems. She gives a shit. She's very collaborative, and it was just a treat, you know. I mean, I've been a fan a long time as well with Revenge and Sightseers and Garth Marenghi and stuff, and so I always felt she was a lot cooler than I was. So when she contacts me to say, "Hey, why don't you come and do our cool film?" I was really grateful, you know, and the role is kind of there. She's, you know, with the wigs and her script, and Ryan, who you've just spoken to, you know, a lot of that hard work is done for an actor, I think. And it's just about bringing a bit of lunacy and a bit of yourself and some madness and just having a laugh and, you know, trusting. It's nice that you trust the director because you can do your best work that way and know that they're not trying to fuck you, you know.
And in terms of the comedy in it, I mean, it's just so funny. And I think you almost need a second watch to catch all the really funny lines. You're an absolute veteran of British comedy, but what is that secret ingredient? What makes this quintessentially British comedy?
I think we're all British people making it, you know, and I think we all have a similar sensibility comedically. And I think we're quite shit as Brits, you know, we're quite rubbish. And within that rubbishness, I think that's where it lives, you know. It's like Rodney from Only Fools and Horses, or, you know, Ian Lavender's character in Dad's Army. We're all got a bit rubbish, you know, we're not cool, we're a bit shit. And we eat that up, I think. And I think that's what makes it British.
And in terms of the takeaways from the film, I mean, you can take it kind of like just for the laughs, you know, the romantic comedy aspect, but it does feel like, you know, there's another layer to it as well. You know, is this about the artistic process itself? You know, that obsessiveness, that slightly self-destructive mode you can get into?
Yeah. I don't know, I think it's more about, and I think a lot of us have probably done it, but falling in love with the wrong person. And deep down you know that this is not right, but there is something about it that you can't pull away from, even though that voice inside you says, hey, this isn't right, you know. I think what it also shows is you can save yourself. If you're brave and say no and walk away, then you can absolutely save yourself.
And what's next for you? Have you got any great projects that you can tell us about yet?
I've got a film which I wrote and starred in and produced called Getaway, which is out at the end of the year. And then there's another film called Crazy House, which I shot in Holland a couple of years ago. So there's lots. I did a Star Wars thing as well, and I'm just writing, and, you know, I love working. So I try and do as much as I can. People decide whether or not they like it, you know. It's a relief in a way, you know. It's done now. I think people love it. I think people are going to really love it. Look, I've known Alice for a long time. We've worked together on Hot Fuzz, and I've been a fan of hers and our Revenge and Sightseers. Garth Marenghi, you know. She was always the cool one, you know. You get an email or a phone call saying, I've got scripts and I'd love you to be in it. it's the opportunity to do something different than what I'm usually known for. I think as an actor, you need to be prepared to do that. You know, there's no point in being an actor and doing the same thing all the time. The fun bit about my job is I can be anyone at any time.